Welcome to the Build to Win podcast, a show about entrepreneurs, their journeys, their processes, and how they turn their dream into a reality. Today is a super special show for me, being it Men's Mental Health Awareness. So we have entrepreneur, actor, and huge mental health activist, my guy,
Brian,
Sam Webb.
Thanks, brother, for having me on the show.
Yes,
I'm excited.
Man. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you coming on. So typically, man, what we do is we start off just having a conversation about where it started. I mean, obviously, most people can hear your voice, so it didn't start here in America.
Nah.
Talk to me. Where did it start?
I'm from down under, man. I'm from Australia. I've been here in Los Angeles now for 4 years, actually. Time has gone really fast. I'll rewind the clock a little bit as to how my journey in the mental health space kind of landed for me. Mental health has been something that's been very close to my heart, I guess, having lost a couple of people in my family directly to suicide and having also had my own struggles with mental health. And I currently still do. Like, I can talk from my hand to my heart. I struggle with anxiety day in and day out, so it's just a constant management process. Some days are amazing, some days are harder than others, but that's just a part of life. But for me, 2013 was kind of like rock bottom. I'd left the States. I actually lived in America at that time in 2012 for 12 months. I was studying abroad, and then I worked in finance, and I was dating someone, and then I ended up just getting off my medication. I was like, I've got to get back to Australia. I just missed home and got back to Australia in 2013, January. I'll never forget it. And no job, completely off the rails, like just doing the wrong thing, surrounding myself with people who weren't in my corner for lifting me up and all that sort of stuff. And after a turn of a few events, I ended up reconnecting with a really good friend from primary school, a young kid I used to play rugby league with. Rugby league in Australia is like kind of like NFL in a way, or like football here, but no pads. I played that most of my life with my friend. His name was Dwayne Lally, and he was also a boxer. He represented Australia for the Commonwealth Games, and he was Golden Glove, so very talented young guy. But from the outside in, and where I'm going with this story, he struggled with bipolar and depression for a number of years, but he hid his pain extremely well.
Yeah.
And the stigma was one of the things that kept him really quiet.
Yep.
And stopped him from seeking help. And for someone who had struggles at the same time Dwayne did, I didn't really even know what to say and how to attack that topic, even though I'd kind of accepted that I had my own mental ill health, if that makes sense.
100%.
And cut a long story kind of shorter, it was September 15 of 2013, and Dwayne's like, come to my place, man, we're having a party. I get to Dwayne's house, and it's himself. His missus takes me at the time, his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And he called me into his room that night at his home. As you know, at a party, there's drinking, there's a barbecue, there's quite a few people there.
Yeah.
So much fun. And he's like, Webby, that's my surname, Webby, come into my room. I want to have a chat to you. Under the influence and talking, he opened up to me.
Yeah.
He legit opened up to me and told me he was going to, like, he's tried to take his life twice before.
Yeah.
And as a 23-year-old young man, I didn't even know what to say. I didn't know what to do. I thought I listened as best as I could. I told him my story. I told him my journey, and he promised me, he looked me in the eye that night and said, look, I promise you, I'd never try it again. I'm so close with my family. I'm so close with my friends, and I know that my friends would do anything for me. And, he reassured me that night that he was fine. That were the last two words that he said to me, was, I'm fine. And I left the room, and he did his own thing, and he had an argument with his his fiancée that night, and man, it was the last time we saw him in living proof. He ended up taking his life that night, and about an hour or so after I'd been with him, and I was messaging frantically. I was driving around the entire Gold Coast that night looking for him, kind of like driving around LA looking for him, and probably shouldn't have been driving.
Yeah.
I was driving.
Yeah.
I was doing whatever I can to try and make my friends safe. And Yeah, man, he took his life, and the impact that his death had on an entire community was life-changing for me. And I realised right then that the conversation needed to change.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, it hit home. It's crazy. You and I met in a random space, and I have never had these conversations on any of our episodes, is that my mother was manic depressive and bipolar. My mother passed in '06 from cancer, but I believe a lot of these things, the body keeps the score. So when you're going these ups and downs, all of these things that are happening, they all take it. What's happening in your mind is affecting your body.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I can understand, and I am big on trying to touch people and trying to check in, because I have personally struggled with some anxiety, with not feeling enough, not doing enough, and we got to check in on each other, man.
Yeah, that's the hard thing, as men.
Yeah.
Often we're always fine, we're trying to suppress it, and we assume everything's good, and we try and just get on with life. And we're often afraid to talk about those hard-hitting conversations because we're not sure how to talk about it, where to talk about it, or who to. And on the other side of that, the flip side, like a man listening to another man, like, what do I say? Like, what do? I don't want to say the wrong thing if he doesn't really feel good, or if he's struggling with anxiety, and I don't really know what anxiety's like, for example, let's just say that. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, I'd freak out, so I don't want to have that conversation. Yeah. So what I've always said, and I said this in my TED Talk, I feel like it's about creating the safest space possible. Correct. It's up to us. Let's take full responsibility as men and as people to create a safe space so that people can open up with no judgment.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. I think it comes down to judgment and understanding as a human first, before anything else, that you're talking to that person with no judgment of, hey, I just want to see how you're doing. As I said, I struggled with it. It's new. It's new. My entire life, I was the wild, free kid. People that know our family, we're a very structured family. My father ran a large construction company. One sister's an attorney, brother's in finance, other sister's a professor, and then there's me, the guy that's having fun, partying like you're talking about. Because I saw my mom's struggles, I saw how hard my dad worked, and I didn't want to be in that for whatever reason. And then build a business, and then I got one of my buddies, my best friend, he checked me one year, and he's like, dude, like, you don't ever like stop to really understand what you've done. Like, you started this business in our little crappy apartment in your bedroom with a metal desk, like you built a multi-million-dollar business from literally nothing.
That's amazing,
you know, but it's hard, man, because you feel like you're by yourself, and if you're that happy person, everyone has gotten accustomed to seeing that happy person. So you don't want to change. You don't want to show people like, oh man, I'm in my head on a negative thing, and you don't want to give people negative vibes.
Like those little cracks.
Yeah, man. If somebody they may already have one, and I tell people all the time, like, I may be stressing, I may be hurting, like you can't imagine, hurting inside. But for whatever reason, I am not a person who would take my life. But the reality is, as I said, the body keeps score. So all of those times that you've mentally put yourself in these energy dampening things, those things start to truly take their toll on your body. Yeah. And so it's really having an open space that you're talking about, having a safe space, and providing a place for tools, having a place where you and I can just talk about it and it be okay. I just came back from what I thought was going to be, it was a retreat. It was a cool retreat, a Joe Dispenza event, who's a cool guy. It wasn't what I thought it was, because I was looking for just like this space where it's just everybody vibrating really super high, and having conversations about how we can make the world vibrate on a higher level. Because the more that we move like that, the more people understand that this world truly is abundant. And no matter what faith that you believe in or you don't believe in, my creator still believes in you. But whether it be God, Allah, Buddha, whoever, all of the underlying messages from these religious texts, in my opinion, they're all saying the same thing. They're saying take care of yourself, really master yourself, and master yourself by being the best possible version. Be a good person. Be good to your other human. And the more that we build close to each other, man, the more that we get stronger.
Yeah, I agree. I think so too, man. It's just about those relationships, and the conversation can go far spread, but like you mentioned, and I agree wholeheartedly, bringing it all back to yourself. How can you take care and be the best version of you, and how you can show up in the world? You're going to be better to other people, family, brothers, sisters, mum, dad, son, daughter, cousins, nephews, nieces, you know. So I'm a big believer in that. And you know, it goes to what your show's about, man. I mean, built to win. So I think it's really important to practice self-care. And I always say as well, like, self-care is number one care.
Yes.
You can't pour from an empty cup. And if you try to, like, I literally look back, and I mention this quite regularly, and I've passed the stages of taking blame and responsibility for my friend's passing, because I was kicking myself up, going, what could I do better? What should I have done different? Is there something that I missed? Was there a warning sign that I completely overlooked? And I look back in that situation that night, man, I was in the shittiest spot of my life, drinking and all sorts of stuff. And I was constantly going, was I listening as best as I could have been? And the hard truth is, I don't think I was. I think problem-solving Sam kicked in, and as men, we're trying to be Mr. Fix-Its all the time, and unfortunately, you can't fix everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, what can I do to fix? Here, you got a great family and did it. But I never just stopped and just shut up and created a safe space for him to know that I was there to listen with my ears, listen with my heart, listen with my being, you know? Yes. Listening is the most powerful thing you can do. Yeah,
it's so funny. Like my mom would say, like, we have two ears and one mouth for a reason. Yeah, for a reason. Yeah, and you said it, listening with your heart. And you said one thing, and the one thing that I will go against is there's not a solution for every problem. There is a solution for every problem. But the reality is, if Sam is having issues, Brian can't fix that issue. And that's why you got to open that space and be like, I'm here to listen to you. I'm here to let you, like, just fucking download. Whatever it is, bro, I'm not going anywhere. People clowned me when I first moved to LA because where we're from in the Midwest, we speak to everybody. And my family's from the South, and they freaking wave at cars driving by. It's just what we do. And so people are like, dude, why are you so weird, man? Like, why do you speak to everyone? And I think that interaction, that really making a conscious decision to smile at people when they walk past and, hey, how you doing? Yeah. You know, I was with my boy Jason at his house yesterday. We were in West Hollywood, and this couple walked by, and these guys with their dog, and they both were looking like depressed or whatever. And I'm like, listen, you in West Hollywood, you're on the West Side, you healthy, man. Like, it's a pretty good day, man. Put a smile on your face. And they both looked at me. They memed up for a second, and they both smiled, because like, you have to process that. Because sometimes I think it's hard for us to truly have perspective. Even when we're struggling, those struggles aren't as bad as we think they are. And we create these doomsday scenarios in our mind. And those doomsday scenarios, somehow they not even somehow, bro. The reality is they manifest because we have these doomsday scenarios in our mind. And so you bring what you think. And so for me, like one of the things that I have been working on, it's why I went to this conscious thing, is to really focus on my self-talk.
To yourself?
Exactly.
How you talking with the chatter in your mind? Okay.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. How I talk to myself, how I value myself. I've been blessed, man. Like, you can't even imagine. God is amazing. The things that have happened for me, and still to question yourself, still like wake up like, man, I just haven't done enough. Like, what is going on with me? Like, why am I not here? Why am I not? And then it's those things, as opposed to, like, again, doomsday scenarios of what if this negative thing happens, as opposed to be like, no, but guess what? There is a flip side to that coin. And what if that amazing thing happens?
Exactly.
And that amazing thing turns into that other amazing thing. It turns into another amazing thing.
Domino effect.
Like, I will tell you 100% that Baron Davis and Slick Studios, this was a shell before the last one. Baron is like the king of manifesting everything in his mind. But I sat with him one day in the end of 2020 after George Floyd, and I had a crazy anxiety attack. And we sat, and he talked to me, and he got me out of the space. And I tell him, there's nothing that he could do to make me be mad, because I was in a bad space. And so it was a blessing. And I will do anything to help him build whatever it is, because he got me. Yeah. This was a big thing. Doing this with you, bro, because what you're doing, and we need to be okay with it. I'm from a very, like, hard family. I'm from a construction family, man.
It's like, have more concrete.
Yeah. Ain't nobody crying in the family. I remember my little sister used to mess with me. My little sister, oh, bless her heart, I freaking love her. Amazing, All-American basketball, everything. She used to be like, why are you so sensitive? And I tell people right now, I believe that it is my superpower. It is my strength, because whatever interaction, whatever engagement, whatever anything, business, personal, some people are like, dude, you're so hard. I'm hard because I'm passionate.
You love it.
I'm passionate about you. I'm passionate about my engagement, my interaction with you and your wife. The time I met you when I was singing in Hollywood. I'm passionate with my wife about her and her mental health and her mental wellness. I'm passionate with my employees. I know there are things that we all, as entrepreneurs, that we have to get better. We have to do better. We want to jump in. And a lot of times we process everything in our minds, but we think this is all the positive scenario. So we jump off the cliff. We start building that plane. And then you got all these people on this plane with you, and they're like, man, he said it's gonna go like this.
Yeah. And then
we are falling really fast right now.
It's going the other way.
It's going really fast. And so understanding that everyone does not have that built-in resilience, that built-in thing that can take that stuff. And so I know I have been guilty of some former employees that worked with me that were great. I had a guy that was a camera guy, and he's probably from a very hard upbringing. I know some conversations that we had, he thought that I was from this super rich family, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, bro, I grew up in the hood. But it is, you push people because you can see. When you lead with your heart, you can see the best in every scenario. And everybody on the other side can't always do that.
Yeah, that's the hard thing, because not everyone, sees what we can see. Like, and we're all on a different, I guess, path and a different journey, and that's okay too. But even on the flip side of that, it's like, for example, we're talking about mental health here for a moment.
Yes, sir.
If someone is struggling, right, and you and we've done a lot of inner work, for example, on our self-care, our resilience, our mental health strategy. We've built a solid baseline. So therefore we need more setbacks for us to get shook.
Yes.
Some people get shook like that and they don't know what to do to feel good. They don't know what to do to talk good mental health self-talk to themselves. They don't know how to get themselves out of the rut. And that's the hard thing. And that's what I always say is like there's not a one-size-fits-all approach, but that's when it all goes back to like what you said is kind of surrendering to those moments and you know, taking position as to where you are in your life and then putting in the work and being honest with yourself and taking a step back, looking at a different perspective. Because like you said, there are many perspectives that we can look at, especially when we're not doing great, you know?
Yeah.
And then there's perspectives we look at when we're doing real good.
Yeah.
But like you and I might have a very different perspective if we're at a setback. Like you might be like on the flip coin, like, that happened because it's building up me for something bigger in the future. Whereas some people fail, entrepreneur, business, mental health, personal health, relationships, you name it. And they don't know what to say. They don't know how to bounce back. They don't know how to look at that bright side, so to speak, perspectives. It's tunnel vision. Yep. And that's hard.
Yeah, it really is. It's hard to understand that this kid, Hormozy said it, I think it's from King Solomon. Okay. And I tell people, I'm programmed as a Christian, so a lot of stuff is from the Bible with me is this too shall pass. Mm-hmm. And so we have seasons, and some seasons are amazing, you know, and then some seasons are the polar opposite. But those seasons, they all pass.
Even the good ones.
Exactly.
It's like a roller coaster. It's like this. And I think the more people understand that that's life, what King Solomon said. Yeah. And mate, speaking of the Bible and Christianity, it's something that I've been religiously trying to get into. Mm-hmm. My wife, Nadia, comes from a Christian family. Yep. They have a church and her dad's a pastor in Kentucky. And it's been something that I've been learning and building a relationship with and having my own relationship with. So I feel like having that sense of faith too and having something greater than yourself to pull on in times of like real sincere struggle, taking the pressure off yourself. Yes. Can be very serendipitous, can be very, it could be a breakthrough for yourself, you know?
Yeah. I truly and honestly believe it is. As you think about any faith, again, and I say it's any faith. And people are like, I'm not Christian, I'm not this, I'm spiritual. I'm like, okay, that's great. Because at the end of the day, if you look at it scientifically, most scientists have said that the Big Bang couldn't happen without some higher being. And so you don't have to assign it a name. Just say some alien that is millions of years ahead of us sparked Earth. But that thing, it created a space for us to understand how to be good, as you talked about, how to feel good on the inside. And it's really about the thoughts that we put out into the universe, because the more positive thoughts that we put out into the universe, the more positivity comes back to us. The more negative thoughts that we put out to the universe, as bad as it sounds, the more negative things. I had someone tell me, oh, so you're saying if this person had this negative thing happen to them? I'm like, I can't tell you that 100%. But I can tell you that what I believe is the more positive that you put in your mind, the more positive people, the more high vibe people that you're around, the more lucky you get. And so whatever you want to call it, I just say vibrate as high as possible. Keep the many high vibration people around you, and then see the magic work.
And then let go and trust.
let go.
It's something that I struggle with, man.
You
all
have
the
to
time.
trust.
Yeah,
You have to trust.
You have to. I think that's the key, and that's something that I've definitely struggled with over the years. And even trusting my own body when I'm midway through a panic attack or having really bad anxiety. It's like, am I going to die? Am I going to have a heart attack?
Yeah.
Far out. Like, how do I come back from that? So it's kind of like just letting go and trusting. It sounds easy, but it's hard.
Oh.
It's definitely hard, especially for some. I can only speak from my own experiences, but it's been hard.
Yeah. I think as we talk about mental health and we talk about entrepreneurship, a lot of times, whether you're talking about building your business, whether you talk about figuring things out, I'll tell you for mine, I had a time in which I was searching externally for something. I brought in an interim CEO she was an amazing person, but she had already run a Fortune 500 company. My company, it was a startup, really, if you call it that. And then brought in another person who was a communications, a comms person, because I had all these kind of hits from Puerto Rico, from Africa, from the U.S., like all of these things. And I'm like, man, everybody wants everything. And what do I have? What does my team have? And it's crazy because I've got a young CTO who I'm honestly, I'm really impressed with him a lot. He just got married. He has a strong grip on the emotional experience. We all go through shit. But he has a very strong grip to be 26, 27 years old. And he's been with me through those ups and those downs to be able to see it. And there's a kid that takes care of his family, his family back in Bangladesh. Take care of a lot of people, villages, and you're 27 years old. That's a lot. But having to be able to compartmentalize that, but know that everything is inside of you. So one of the things at this event that I was at, and that I took from it, is all of the power really resides in us. And again, our Creator, I'll say it that way, our Creator gave us the same power that she has, and said, you've got a piece of me. And with that piece of me, there should be no fear. There should only be faith. And that's the one thing that I think a lot of us struggle with. I think a lot of this world struggles with all of the scarcity, with all of the judgment, with all of just the negativity, is not understanding that this Sam from Australia, white guy, Brian from South Bend, Indiana, black guy, we are walking unique paths in life, but we both are walking the same. Like, we are still one. And when we get to that place, whenever that happens, wherever that happens, it is going to be a beautiful thing when people can figure that out.
Especially when it happens on a grand scale, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. And what do you, if you don't mind me asking, like, what do you do to practice this? We're talking about mental health. Like, what do you do to practice self-care?
So
because you got a beautiful family.
I do. So we pray together. My family, we all pray together. We do it almost every day. And meditation is a huge part. And people that are from strict Christian families, most of the time, I remember my sister saying, what are you talking about, meditate? That's not Christian. But in the Bible, I bring it up again. The Bible says to meditate and pray. And most of us don't know what meditation is until you really jump in. Your prayer is to the Creator, thanking the Creator for all that, the abundance that you have been gifted, all of the gifts, all of the life, all of the just positivity that happens, just the experience. Because everything that happens, as we all know, is not negative, positive, but it is an experience. But we get to live in that experience. So thanking the Creator for that. And then the meditation is really like getting in with yourself and having those real conversations, because that self-talk, that down talk that we do to ourselves is you have the ability to quiet those voices. And that feels good when you can quiet the negative voice, and then you run the machine. Like we are machines.
Instead of it running you.
Exactly. When we run the machine, man.
Because you're in the driver's seat as opposed to the car driving you.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
And again, another tough one. I think, like you mentioned, everyone's got self-talk. Some internal chatter's a lot louder than other people. Yeah, and it can take a lot of time to nurture that and to build that up. And then you might be doing really, like there's been times in my life where I've practiced amazing and put in the work, and I've been like, boom, palming off this negative self-talk, left, right and centre, feeling good, feeling mental health strong, baseline's on top, and it's like nothing can stop me, I'm unbeatable, unbreakable. But then something happens in your life, something traumatic. We talk about ups and downs, and I've lost all resolve of all my self-care strategies are going out the window. None of them work anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like, am I going to build this up from scratch again? Sometimes they come back, and it's just, it's tough. It is very tough. And I say this to anyone that's listening that's struggling with their own mental health or lost on their journey. I feel like, hold on, bring it back to basics, and remember there is always help and support out there. And there are people that want to help you be the best version of yourself. But sometimes it can take time. And as Brian mentioned, I think it's about really building that foundation strong.
Yeah.
Whether it's having faith, having the best people in your corner who will show up no matter what, whether you win, whether you're losing, whether you're struggling, whether you're on the streets. You've got to have people in your corner that want you to win. That's just the bottom line. And I've cut out a lot of people in my life over the years that they weren't the best people for me. Yeah. And that's changed my life.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the way that you say it is the right way, in my opinion, to do it, is they weren't the right people for you. Because for me, I cut back on drinking. I barely drink at all. And sometimes people, they think that you're judging them because they drink and you don't. And you're like, no, it's just for me. Like, this is a me thing. Yeah. And whatever decisions that other people make, those are their decisions, the best thing for them. Yeah. And so as long as people are understanding, like, whether it's your friends, your family, your colleagues, if they're like, oh, we got to go get this drink, and you know when you wake up in the morning from drinking, you feel depressed, you tell them, hey, if you can't tell them that you can't drink, then you tell them, hey, man, I'm going to have to sit this one out. Because you've got to be strong in your resolve. Because at the end of the day, the only person who has to live your life is you. That's a real thing, man. And it gets, I think, in our world, it gets hard sometimes with so much, I don't know what the word would be, so many outputs everywhere. There's just so much data everywhere coming at you. And so people feel like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that, I can't sit still, got to be in this.
Never stop.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it really just helps to stop and sit still. One of my mentors, Earl, he told me this in 21, and he knew I was struggling. And he was like, bro, you just need to sit. You need to sit still. But at that time, you don't have the tools to even understand what sit still means.
And sitting still in those voices gets louder too. That's scary. That's real scary, you know. Yeah. So facing those demons head on and sitting still, mate, it's so important.
Yeah, really when you sit and understand it, and we as entrepreneurs, we think that for our businesses to grow, for our businesses to take the next step, we have to do more. I gotta be in it. I gotta make it happen. And this is one of the things that I had to learn. And I tell some of the entrepreneurs that come to me and ask me questions, I tell them, for you to get to whatever level that you're at, it takes a skill set. But for you to pull the lever or for you to level up to the next one, it takes a different skill set. And so you have to be able to learn, do, and then you got to be able to teach and manage. You got to be able to follow. Now you got to be able to just to sit and look at the pieces and then adjust as things grow. And as these things happen, it's painful. It's scary, because the higher and higher you go as an entrepreneur, the less and less you do.
Yeah, it's about letting go.
Exactly.
Yeah. You start by yourself, can be a very lonely endeavor, but as you building a team, and then it's, assigning tasks, letting go, not being a micromanager, having trust, having faith that things will get done without you having to do everything. And again, back to self-care. You gotta protect yourself at all times, like a boxer. Protect yourself at all times, because without you, man, what happens? If the machine is ran by you, but the team is behind it and you're removed, that could be catastrophic.
Yeah, but it only happens that way if you have not done the work, if you haven't put the processes in, the procedures in, if you haven't essentially set up guidelines, if you haven't done a decision-making framework with your team, if you haven't empowered them to let them know that, hey, you can do this. I've walked you through this. We've done it multiple times. You've seen me do it. You've done it. So you know that you can do it. You don't need my input on this. So once you get to a space where now that you are no longer touching every single thing that happens, now it becomes a machine that runs without you.
And that's the goal.
That's 100% the goal. That is the goal of, it should be. It should be. That should be the goal of every entrepreneur of, you now have a machine that is self-cycling.
What are your thoughts on, and I'm just talking from my own experience. I've just stepped back as a CEO and as a director of my own mental health charity in Australia. What are your thoughts on entrepreneurs who are out there starting up businesses, or they might be 10 years in, to pass the torch on to someone else, so that they can step back and give the reins to someone else and not feel bad about it, so that they can maybe either move on to another interest, a different business altogether. Maybe they're creators at heart and they want to create something else. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
So again, my thoughts have always been, since I have always been, that was funny. My thoughts have been, since I've had the framework switch in my brain to understand you have to have definitive processes, you have to have definitive procedures, you have to have guidelines and expectations of what is expected of me as the CEO, what is expected of you as the CFO, what is expected of John as the COO, of Jason as the CTO. What are all of the things that are expected of them? And then, are all of these things written down? And so if all of these things are written down, there is no Sam, I thought you were going to do this. Well, how did I know that you thought that? Because you didn't say it to me, because it's in your mind. And so now you can't let go, because no one knows what the job truly is.
Because it's up here.
Exactly.
Instead of down, you haven't rolled it out. Gotcha.
And so that right there, that's one of the things that again, just learning. One of the things that we as entrepreneurs, we like to hold things in our mind, but that is an anxiety producer as well. Because in your mind, you know all of the things that need to be done, and you know in your mind when they're not getting done, but they're not written down. Yeah. So no one else can jump in and help.
And no one knows. No one knows what they don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah, and if it's not spoken or communicated well enough, it's just a ship out in the open, and it's going wherever you're going, and they're leading the blind.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it goes so much more, man, into, again, just, this is all mental health, and for men as leaders, men as teammates, is not, 4 Agreements, I'll just go there. The 4 Agreements is a book.
Great book.
So it's required reading if you work at our company. Is understanding that you should not, first off, be impeccable with your word, with the words that come out of your mouth, because words are power. You shouldn't have any expectations. And those are the things right there. You know, if you have no expectations, but no one knows what those expectations are, then how are we managing those? You know, making assumptions. That's a crazy thing. An older man told me. He's like, from the time you say the words out of your mouth to the time the person's listening to you hears them, they have changed. And so a lot of times we assume a message was received, but that other person's like, I can't believe he's talking to me like that. And you're like, you walk away like, man, I helped him. And they walk away like, that guy's a freaking dick.
Yeah, that's wild. That is wild. Interpretate, yeah.
Yeah, and all of these things feed into our mental breakdowns because you don't say anything. That person walks away like, oh, he's a jerk.
Yeah.
And in your mind, like,
you did good.
I did good.
Yeah, you did.
I was a great manager.
Yeah,
right there.
you did a great job.
I was a great manager right there.
Yeah, he's talking to everyone about, he's a loser. And, yeah.
Exactly. Now he's gone. That person's gone to everyone on your team. Like, he's such a jerk. Don't you hate when he's condescending? Blah 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 blah. You're thinking that you're building your team up, but you're slowly breaking your team down, and not even understanding it. And that's the entrepreneurial thing again, you know. And then, you know, doing our best and not beating ourselves up, which is another thing that we're good at. We're always good at beating ourselves up, man. So we jumped into mental wellness, but we got some more time for you. So what else was Sam?
As far as what?
What's next? What else you got?
Yeah, so I'm currently working on a couple of things out here in LA, and I'm excited. I can't really announce them as of right today, but they're definitely in the entrepreneur startup space, and I'm excited. Like, I'm a creator at heart. I love it, and I love acting. Like, I'm pursuing acting. I'm hard in it. I've just created 3 short films, which are going to be released quite soon. We're going to submit them to a range of festivals around the States and hopefully around the world. Pretty proud of them. We did them from basically a concept. We wrote them, got a team together, filmed them, and they've come out pretty damn good. So pretty proud of that. Acting is definitely something that I'm extremely excited about, passionate about, but outside of that, I am still creating, and that's in the business space as well. And that's just because I like keeping busy, and it's good to have multiple, not too many, but it's good to have multiple interests that you can get excited about.
Yes.
And my new I guess concept in the near future, which I'll share with you at some stage, obviously, is definitely in the health and wellness space, something I'm extremely passionate about. And I just want to leave this world and leave people feeling better than themselves yesterday. That's my goal. If I can help someone be better than they were yesterday, I'm on the right track. Yes. I want to be a person of service, and that comes with helping others. And
you definitely have a service heart, man. There's no question about it. So I think we're doing God's work in my mind. One of the things that I haven't talked about just because of this, I want to make sure that one of the nonprofits I work with is Equip Our Kids, which is social emotional learning. And if you go to Equip Our Kids, you can check that out. And it's an advocacy group to teach kids how to really cope with their feelings. And what I say to people is like, feelings happen, but you are not your feelings. Mm-hmm. And so we have to understand that they're waves. They're waves. They have to come and they have to go. And sometimes that wave is bigger than others. But you can't sit in it. Mm-hmm. You can't sit in the wave, and you just let these things wash, and everything will be all right. One of my guys told me when I was just at the event, I've never done hallucinogenics or anything like this, but ayahuasca. And he said one of the things that they talk about is the plane's going to land. And it was interesting to me because I guess you get sick when you're taking it, and it's an amazing kind of journey, seeing yourself and seeing the inner side of you. But on the other side is even when we are in our season, is letting you know that the plane is going to land.
Yeah, definitely. I think it always will, but just going through those,
Sometimes
going through those
rough.
waves. Yeah, it can get very rough, and that's probably an understatement to people who are maybe listening right now that are going through their own stuff. So, yeah, hold on and ride those waves as best as you can.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Sam, man, I appreciate you. I love you. And I look
Ryan,
forward to next
brother,
time.
thanks for having me on here, man. It's been an absolute blast. Appreciate you sharing some of your story too. It means a lot.
Yes,
so
sir.
thank you.
Thank you guys tuning in. Built to Win.